Next one I have here is for Big C8.
Big cat operator.
Yeah, we've gotten so many
We
questions.
have.
Yeah, Big cat operator. I was going to say BK top operator.
It's hard to read these on camera, y'all.
All right.
We are the Armed Attorneys. We are back with another mailbag episode. Stick around. Today we're talking about why the double standard with lies and police officers. How do you realistically get grandpa's gun? And what do you do with a Molotov cocktail? But before we get started, show your support for the Second Amendment by hitting the like button. And today's episode is sponsored by Aura.
You want to see something crazy?
Yeah.
I just Googled Edwin. His address is 1 Street.
Oh.
And the phone number.
Where are you getting this?
I just Googled it.
It's scary how easy someone can Google a name and find out a person's private information, including home address, phone number, email address, and more. These sites are operated by data brokers that collect information from all over the place, including data breaches. They pack up your personal information, they sell it to anyone who wants it, including scammers and identity thieves, all without your consent. We know it's a big threat, but unfortunately, it's completely legal.
And even if these companies are required to take the information down, good luck not getting buried in the process. Or you can do what we do. Use Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura does so much more than just removing your name from Google searches. Aura alerts me if they find my phone number, email, social security number on the dark web. They also let me know fast if anyone tries to use my information to access my credit or bank accounts. And if the worst case scenario happens, Aura provides up to $5 million in identity theft insurance to help cover the damage.
Aura also includes a world-class VPN, password manager, real-time credit and identity theft monitoring, internet parental controls, and malware protection, all inside one app. Aura helps protect your identity, your money, and your peace of mind. Let Aura do the hard work of keeping you safe online. Go to aura.com/armedattorneys to try 14 days for free.
And that's enough time for Aura to start scrubbing your personal info off these data broker sites automatically. All right. We got a full docket here of incredible questions. A lot to do with a lot of police encounter stuff.
Yeah, we'll talk about police today.
It's a lot of kind of almost a theme. We'll see where we go here, but we love these segments. If you have questions, make sure to leave them in the comment section down below. These videos are actually where we farm most of these questions. If you see someone has asked another question you like answered, make sure to give that one a like because those kind of filter to the top. We know what you folks want to hear. All right, the first one is Ebenezer Weezer 2957. Love the name. Why is it legal for law enforcement to lie to us, but we can't lie to them?
That is an excellent question. The official answer is public safety. The unofficial answer is just because, shit sucks. Because there's no other, because the courts have said one is okay and one is not okay. But the official answer is for the public safety. Right? That's why they can lie to us, right, Richard?
Yeah, it comes up all the time, especially, this is what a lot of detectives are trained to do. They'll get somebody in for an interrogation and say, you know what, we have you on video doing X, Y, and Z. Just, we're trying to fill in some gaps. They just take it as an assumption for this guy.
We got your fingerprint.
Yeah. And truly, there's no video, there's no fingerprints. Yeah. They're just trying to trick you.
Yes, and they're perfectly allowed. And all the way up to the Supreme Court have said that is A-okay because you're doing it to catch bad guys. And I guess, why would an innocent person lie in the face of a statement like that? Which, that all of the psychology, all of it. Not that I know much I was a psych major in college, which teaches you nothing because college is a scam. But other than that, I remember some things, which is when someone's subject to interrogation with everything going on in your body and in your brain, when something like that is happening, you do weird stuff. So probably the cops shouldn't be allowed to lie to you because that's just triggering your brain to do more weird stuff, guilty or innocent. And yet here we are. But don't you lie to them because that doesn't help the public safety. No. Realistically, it helps my safety maybe, but not the public safety.
And what the courts are looking at is, hey, is this technique or is this lie so severe such that it would make a confession involuntary? And the courts have set these crazy bars on these things. It's pretty stinking difficult. If a cop went in and created an AI video of somebody doing something, I could see a court saying, hey, look, you basically tricked this guy or whatever,
I could see them saying that was okay.
I don't want to give folks ideas.
I don't want to give them ideas. Did you see that there was a recent deal where the state in conjunction with the family, created an AI victim impact statement from a dead person.
Yeah, I read about it.
Like, good. Like, I mean, but yes, you could imagine something like that, and the court will have to take it up. And then, horrifyingly, I can imagine courts being like, okay, sure enough. I mean, it is that scary. They are so, and it's good to catch bad guys, but it's not good to trick innocent people into things, confessing to things that they did not do.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
And as far as, why doesn't this work the other way around? Well, the things that you say can only be used against you. They can't be used for you.
Sure enough.
And so whenever you're making these statements, if you have provided any credible information, guess what? That information, they get to throw it out the window. They're going to tell juries, don't believe this person. But when a cop does it, they say, hey, look, this is a legitimate interrogation technique. Even though they lied, don't hold that against them. I mean, that's just the double standard we see. The courts allow it.
They allow it. All right, so we have at Dan89YJ28. Question: if you were in the crowd in Boulder with your CCW when the guy was throwing Molotov bottles at people, could you put down the threat? Richard?
Yeah, short answer, yes.
Short answer, absolutely.
And what do we look at? Good kind of 3 boxes that we got to check anywhere in the country. Is it reasonable and immediately necessary? And is it in response to unlawful deadly force? Okay, well, we kind of check all 3 of those boxes. Doesn't matter where you are. Some states are going to use different terms. But all 3 of those boxes were checked in the Boulder case. That is very tragic.
Yes. So I will say, and I hate this because I think that it is First Amendment chilling, but if you plan to attend a protest for anything highly charged right now, you need to be carrying, and you should probably encourage the organizers, if they can, to hire security, because this is not going to get better. And also, if carrying, you need to familiarize yourself with the self-defense laws in your state, including the protection of a third party, which is generally very, very simple and easy. So just, I mean, I hate that. I hate that's where we're living right now. But I think just practically speaking, take caution.
Yeah. All right. Next one we had, this is PR Beast 23. What happens if suppressors get legal under federal law, but the state law is still illegal? So this is thankfully not a problem we need to worry about in Texas. A little bit of background. We're talking about the Hearing Protection Act is getting potentially included in the budget. Now, things haven't been finalized yet. The Senate gave themselves a week-long vacation, but everything that we are seeing right now indicates that the Hearing Protection Act will make it into this. What would it do? As best as we can tell, it would remove suppressors from the National Firearms Act, remove the registration requirement, remove the tax requirement. These suppressors would be treated like Gun Control Act firearms. So, if you're buying them from an FFL, still have to go through a background check, things like that. So that's what we see right now. Again, big asterisk, things can change. But what happens if, all right, the federal government has taken their foot off the gas on these and they're still criminal under state law? Well, I think you're going to have a problem.
This is damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because let's say that it is legal under state law, illegal under federal law. Well, federal law, they get to come in, they get to enforce it. If it's illegal under state law, legal under federal law, that federal supremacy thing that we talk about all the time does not apply because
they're not occupying the field anymore.
Exactly. So, I mean, states being their own grand experiments, they get to do things like that, generally speaking, even if the federal law says it's A-okay. So, out of luck. Out of luck is the short answer. It's got to be legal under both state and federal law.
And I'll say there's probably 3 categories of these states. They either have no criminal law on it, not criminalized under state law, like we have here in Texas. Well, if the federal government gave it the green light, got rid of all those infringements, great. Somewhere in the middle where we say, hey, guess what? You have to own these in compliance with federal law. Well, I think those folks are going to be okay too.
Those folks are great, yeah.
And then our third category, which they say, hey, we're treating these as prohibited weapons under our state's law.
Yep.
Those folks are going to be so out of luck.
And a lot of states do that, unfortunately.
Yep.
So, all right, we have at Kevin Townsend, 8476. I've been wanting to ask this question for a long time. Oh, this is a Texas-specific question. If you have an LTC and you're stopped by a police officer, do you have the option of saying, I'm carrying under constitutional carry, or are you mandated that anything that happens has to be under the laws that apply to your LTC? The reason I asked your last podcast, you made the distinction on college campuses, LTC versus constitutional carry. I know this is
nerdy stuff that we talk about all the time.
This is really nerdy stuff that we love all the time. Okay, so you give me your opinion, and then I'll give you mine.
So, I mean, what the lawyer is going to do, let's say a person ends up charged with some kind of crime, they are going to argue it whatever's way is best for you.
Yeah, I mean it is the
world's
wild,
our oyster.
Yes, it is the Wild West.
I haven't done it yet.
No, I know this has not come up for us yet. So, and as far as I know, it's not come up in the whole state of Texas. So it is the Wild West, and those are the arguments, right? It's like your defense attorney is going to say, you get to decide at any moment, even if your LTC is in your hot little hands, you get to say, I'm a constitutional carrier right now, or I'm an LTC carrier right now. The state is probably going to say, well, they're going to say,
if you're physically in possession of an LTC,
yeah,
they're going to say you're carrying under the authority of your license. Is probably what they're going to argue.
Probably what they're going to argue. Or, I mean, this is the opposite of what they used to argue back in the day before constitutional carry, when they would really try to get you for not having your LTC on you. I mean, they could say an LTC is an LTC, an LTC all day long, even if you left it at home. Right? Well, I mean, I think that's a bad argument.
Which goes contrary to what they have said for decades, yes, which is you're not a license holder unless you're holding your license. Yeah. You know, they used to make those arguments to us all the time. So,
but they're not bound by any of the stuff they've said before.
No. But, you know, is there a good argument that, hey, if you're not in physical possession of your license, are you no longer a license holder for purposes of Texas law? You know, we'll see how other states define their things, but I think there's a good argument.
Yeah, heck yeah. I mean, there is, you know, toss that LTC in your glove box, lock it up, and like, not right now, officer. So I'll take the case.
All right. Next one we have is Primal Rage. Is it true that when cops take your gun for their safety, he makes quotes, are they going to run the serial number to see if it's stolen? Wouldn't that constitute an unreasonable search or seizure? Context, get pulled over for whatever reason, let's say speeding. So, right. In our last video, we discussed how the police, basically, the courts have said, can disarm folks, you know, if they're under a lawful detention for officer safety. Now, is running the serial number considered an unlawful search, Emily?
No, it is not. And that's not Emily Taylor saying that. That is the courts saying that it does not. I mean, it does not constitute a substantial enough deprivation of your rights to be to invoke the Fourth Amendment, essentially. So yes, they will take it for their safety. It is not a search or a seizure, unfortunately, and they will run the serial number, and you just hope that it shall be returned, but that will be dependent on your state's statute. They can't keep it forever, but when they return it, it's going to depend on what your state's law says.
And with the exception of a handful of states that have state gun registries, you know, most of us, you know, when the police are typing these firearms into their computer data terminals, what they're querying is, has this gun ever been reported as lost or stolen? And so that's, you know, ultimately that's the database they're querying. So if the gun hasn't been reported as lost or stolen,
you should get it back.
Yeah, you'll get it back.
Unless you got arrested for something.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got at Jim Valentine 117. What if you get a gun or guns from your father or grandfather and they are out of state? What is the legal way to do that sort of transfer? I live in Ohio. My close relatives live in Kentucky, Tennessee, Connecticut, and Florida. So
wow, you're spread out.
You are spread out. It depends on if you're getting them through estate or through a transfer where they're still alive. If you are getting them through their estate, you should not have to go through the official transfers. It should be able to go to the executor, who can then really you can just drive and pick it up and take it back. There are exceptions in the federal law. Check your state's law to make sure you're complying with state law as well. But if it is just, hey, Grandpa's still alive, but wants to get me this gun now, which is, I think, generally a very good idea because you don't have to worry about things getting liquidated to pay the debts at the estate. Then probably what's going to happen is, what's going to be easiest is Grandpa's going to walk into an FFL dealer in his state, who is going to transfer it to an FFL dealer in your state, and you will pay the transfer fee, and you will go fill out a 4473 and pick it up. Now, there is a slight variation on that. Do you want to discuss that?
Yeah, if your grandpa's visiting you in your home state, y'all could just facilitate the transfer
together
in the home state there. That would be fine.
But at the FFL dealer, not privately.
Correct. And then adding a note to, hey, we don't want these guns to get liquidated as part of, the estate. A real good way around that is if it is a specific bequest in the will. I want this person to get this gun. Specific bequests go really up tippy top as far as property distribution goes for wills, last wills. And so those things get touched last when they're liquidating property to pay out debts, things like that. So that's something to think about when you're estate planning.
Yeah, specific bequests really do help out. Okay.
Next one I have here is for big C8.
Big cat operator.
Yeah, we've got so many
We
questions.
have.
Yeah, big cat operator. I was going to say BK toperator.
It's hard to read these on camera, y'all.
All right. So serious question. If Greg Abbott signs his bill and the Short Act winds up getting signed as well, am I good to take my hacksaw to my shotgun? All right. This little bit of context. Texas is on the brink of decriminalizing short-barreled firearms. This kind of plays into, hey, is the Short Act going to make it into this budget reconciliation? Are we going to take short-barreled rifles and shotguns off the national firearms? Are we going to get registry? Are we going to get rid of that? Get rid of the tax? It doesn't seem to be happening.
But if it did, the question isn't, will it?
Yeah, the question is hypothetical. Double decriminalization on the state and federal level? Yeah, it sounds like it would be okay.
Way.
Yeah, sounds
Heck yeah. All right, last one. Alan One Savoy.
I got to change the font on this.
Yeah. Sorry, Alan. This is, we were talking about getting your gun back from police. As a tangent, what recourse do you have when your property comes back damaged or with parts missing? And this does happen.
Yeah, I would say each state is different. You probably have a Tort Claims Act equivalent under your state's law. You have to file those. They give them really, really short time windows, sometimes as short as like 90 days. After you discover the damage, you got to try to resolve these things through an administrative level with your state, and try to get paid out that way before you might have, any other claim. But otherwise, if you sued the government for this, one, they're going to say, boom, you don't get it. You didn't follow our Tort Claims Act statutes. Two, they're going to claim sovereign immunity even if you did that. You didn't make any money.
They're going to say it's not negligence. They're going to say they're immune. I mean, you're not going to get compensated for that, which is outrageous, but just as a practical matter, I can almost guarantee it. So that sucks, but
yeah, but exhaust your remedies.
Yep.
Talk to a lawyer. And maybe there is something there because
you can only hope.
The cost to administer a lawsuit kind of goes both ways. The government, sometimes they shake things loose.
Sure enough.
Rarely, but it happens.
Yeah.
But we hope you enjoyed this discussion. If you did, consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and help us fight the anti-2A algorithm by sharing this video.
And as always, leave us questions and comments below. We will look for your questions here. Until next time, we're the Arm Attorneys.